Letting go of the past is hard, especially when your life is reflected in the objects around you. People say decluttering is simple. Just donate, throw things away, and move on. But it's not that easy. It's not just about getting rid of stuff. It's about facing the fact that time is moving forward, whether you like it or not. Every item you own holds meaning, a memory, a piece of your identity. That's why sorting through your belongings isn't just about deciding what to keep. It's about accepting that certain parts of your life are over, and that's painful. The books you once loved remind you of who you were. The tools in your garage tell the story of what you built, and even an old dress or suit can bring back the feeling of a special moment. These objects carry emotional weight, making it feel like you're not just losing things, but pieces of yourself. If you let go of work materials, does it mean your career is truly over? If you get rid of art supplies, does it mean your creative days are behind you? Even something as simple as a set of dishes can hold memories of family gatherings and laughter. That's why people avoid decluttering. It's not just about stuff. It's about facing the passage of time. But holding on to everything won't stop time. It just adds more weight to carry. Your identity isn't in these objects. It's in you. Letting go doesn't erase your experiences. Instead, it makes space for the next chapter of your life. Decluttering also comes with guilt. Every object tells a story, and when you pick up an old letter, a gift, or a family heirloom, it's not just an item. It's a connection to a person or a moment in time. Letting it go can feel like a betrayal, as if you're erasing history. A gift from a lost loved one is proof they were once here. Old birthday cards remind you of people who celebrated you. But keeping something doesn't bring the past back. It doesn't keep a person alive or preserve a moment forever. Guilt also shows up in other ways. You might feel wasteful for throwing away something expensive or irresponsible, for discarding something useful. But keeping things out of guilt doesn't add value to them. An unused coat in your closet isn't honoring its purpose. It's just taking up space. Then there's the fear of regret. What if you need something later? But most of the things we hold on to just in case never get used again. If something has been untouched for years, chances are you won't need it. And even if you do, there are always ways to replace or adapt. The truth is, memories and love don't live in objects. They live in you. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about making room for the present and living with freedom and peace. One of the hardest parts of decluttering later in life is realizing that the things you saved for your children or grandchildren might not be wanted. For years, you've held on to heirlooms, furniture, and keepsakes, believing they would be cherished. But when the time comes, younger generations may not see them the same way. It can feel like a rejection of your history, but it's not personal. Times change. Younger people often prefer minimalism, move frequently, and prioritize practicality. That dining table, filled with family memories, might be seen as too bulky. The delicate china set you treasured might feel outdated. Even photo albums might not mean as much to those who grew up with digital memories. It's painful because these items aren't just things. They're pieces of your life. But clinging to the belief that your possessions must be valued by others only leads to disappointment. What truly matters isn't the things you leave behind. It's the love, wisdom, and stories you pass on. Instead of assuming your family wants your things, ask them. You might be surprised to learn they care more about a handwritten letter than a piece of furniture. And if they don't want certain things, that's okay. Donate them, sell them, or find someone who will appreciate them. Keeping possessions that no one wants won't. Make them more meaningful. Letting go of that expectation frees you to focus on what really matters: your relationships, your well-being, and the legacy you create through the life you live, not the things you own. The more things you own, the harder life becomes. At first, having everything within reach feels comforting, but over time, clutter turns into an obstacle, both physically and mentally. Every drawer stuffed with papers, every closet overflowing with clothes, every shelf crowded with trinkets, all of it demands attention, even if just in the back of your mind. It leads to stress, exhaustion, and a feeling of being trapped. Clutter makes simple tasks harder. Finding a document becomes frustrating, cleaning takes longer, and moving through your home becomes a challenge. As you get older, physical limitations make it even worse. Reaching for items, stepping over piles, and navigating around furniture becomes difficult, even dangerous. The home that once felt comforting starts to feel like a burden. But clutter doesn't just weigh on your body. It weighs on your mind. Every item is a decision. Should it stay or go? What if you need it later? These constant choices lead to mental fatigue and anxiety. Studies show that clutter increases stress and reduces focus, making it harder to feel at peace. Your brain craves order, and when your environment is chaotic, so is your mind. Letting go of excess belongings isn't just about tidying up. It's about creating a space that supports your well-being. A simpler home is easier to clean, easier to move around in, and more enjoyable to live in. The idea that keeping things brings security is an illusion. True security comes from the ability to move freely, live without unnecessary burdens, and focus on what really matters. Decluttering isn't about loss. It's about gaining freedom. People often see decluttering as a one-time event, something to do when they have the time or energy. But it's not a single project, it's an ongoing process. If you don't actively manage what comes into your home, clutter will build up again, sometimes even faster than before. Many struggle with keeping a clutter-free space because they focus only on getting rid of things without changing the habits that caused the build-up in the first place. Clearing out a room won't last unless you're intentional about what you bring in. This means questioning every new item. Does it truly add value? It also means setting boundaries, even with well-meaning family and friends who give you things you don't need. Another challenge is the emotional exhaustion of decluttering. Sorting through years of belongings forces you to confront memories, past decisions, and regrets. It's mentally draining to keep deciding what stays and what goes. That's why clutter builds up again, because dealing with it is exhausting, and people avoid it. The only way to make it sustainable is to make it part of your routine, instead of waiting until it's overwhelming. Decluttering also takes time, more than people expect. It's not a weekend project. If you've accumulated things for decades, it will take time to sort through them properly. Rushing leads to regret, either from discarding too much too quickly or keeping too much because decisions were made under pressure. Accepting that decluttering is a long-term process allows you to do it with patience and intention rather than urgency. And even after you've decluttered, you'll have to keep making choices about your space. There's no perfect end point. Instead of seeing decluttering as a finish line, see it as a way of life, constantly evaluating what matters, letting go of what doesn't, and creating a space that supports the life you want. The freedom that comes with a clutter-free home isn't a one-time reward. It's something you choose every day, one decision at a time,